Hi, everybody. Welcome to the WK Burnouts studio. I'm Dustin, and we've got a special guest today. This is Jairon Jasper from sales at WK Chevy in Sedalia.
Hello, everybody.
Jairon learned a very valuable lesson a couple of months ago about checking his email. So Jairon went on a really special trip and came back with so much to tell us about it. We figured we'd just let him tell because he saw all sorts of cool stuff. So Jairon, tell us about what you did.
Yeah, so I went to the Chevy Find New Roads, which is a training event that Chevy offers. How I got into this, I'll tell that story real quick, was I just checked my emails. Everybody always says, oh yeah, the no reply ones. Yeah, I just delete those, But I was just starting, so I was checking them and it said Chevy Find New Roads. I knew what that was and I signed up for it. And thankfully I got accepted to go to that. But everybody else was just so jealous because they didn't know. They were asking me how. And I said, well, you check your emails. Don't delete them immediately. Yeah, read them. So, but at that event, I got to experience a lot of the new products we have coming out, like the new Chevy Silverado ZR2, which is already out. But more importantly, the Colorado ZR2 with the all new refresh. I did get to drive Corvettes on the track, got to experience a 5.3 engine compared to a 2.7 high output on the half-ton trucks.
You pulled something with those, didn't you?
Yes.
They actually hitched up trailers and you pulled to compare both of those powertrains.
Yes.
That's something I kind of wish we had out back here at the dealership because that's a pretty tough pill to swallow for a lot of us guys that have been driving trucks for the last several vehicles. They've all, got to get the 5.3. We got to have my 5.3. I've been doing that since 1999. Got to have a 5.3. Still got one.
Mm-hmm.
Just, what was that like, the comparison? They obviously wouldn't do it if the 2.7 didn't pull it really well.
Yeah.
But I mean, what did you think?
So we pulled it was a car trailer, basically. With a little bit of stuff on it, about 6,500 pounds. And then they told us to take off the same in each vehicle, get up to a certain speed, go around corners, and they made us pay attention to the RPMs. And in both trucks, they sat about 2,000 to maybe 2,500 RPMs.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point because the whole big thing that everybody worries about on the turbo 4-cylinder is that you're going to have it wrapped out the whole time, like just absolutely in boost, 5,000 RPM just to take off. It's not like that.
No, not at all.
So it has, and I know you look at the specs, look at the power band and everything on paper. It's got the torque low down in spades. It's got plenty to take off without having to wrap through the RPMs. But that's exciting so it was a very, very comparable experience doing those two.
Oh yeah.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. So there were so many more, things that you did. So we talked about the towing between those two engines.
Mm-hmm.
What all did you get to drive while you were there? What'd you drive?
Okay, so I drove a Corvette around the track. I drove the Blazer, and immediately after the Blazer, you compared those to two of its competitors.
What were they?
So the Jeep Grand Cherokee L.
Yeah.
And then the Toyota Highlander.
Yeah.
Is what I drove. And then they just took us on a road course. They told us to take it easy on the first one. And then the second pass around, balls to the walls. Just go crazy. Yeah. So there was tires screeching and everything. A couple people took out some cones, but
poor cones.
I'm a sports car driver. So I was,
kept it between the cones.
Did
you?
Yeah.
Good
man. Met a lot of cool people down there as well in that process. You have to trust somebody to be whipping a car around like that around the track.
Yeah.
And then the Silverado with the 5.3 and the 2.7.
Yeah.
Got to compare the heavy duty truck, not the refresh model, but 23 model with the 6.6 Duramax and the 6.6 gas.
Mm-hmm.
We pulled an enclosed trailer that had the transparent trailer set up on that.
Oh yeah.
What else did I get to drive? The Silverado ZR2, Tahoe Z71, and the Colorado ZR2 on an off-road course.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
You drove the new Colorado.
Correct.
This is an all new. This isn't the same chassis or body or anything. This is an all new Colorado. And I mean, on paper, everything about it, there's some really exciting stuff there. And the way that they've evolved this whole General Motors with all the off-road kit that they're offering from the factory on these vehicles is it's awesome. It's perfect for North America right now. It's perfect for what people, after the pandemic, guess what everybody found out they liked doing? Camping.
Mm-hmm.
I like camping. Well, it's because that's all you could do. I've always liked camping, but but really it's taken off. And hand in hand, these off-road capable, full-sized vehicles have gotten big, but this mid-sized truck segment has really gotten popular. You see a lot of people out there with camper shells and shovels on their roof and all sorts of stuff. I mean, they're ready to go overlanding. They're ready to go on an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think of the new Colorado? The powertrains in them, they're the 2.7.
Yep.
So you drove a ZR2, which would be the high output 2.7, right, which is the same configuration as it is in the full size pickup.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what did you think of that?
It handles the power great. Just like the only difference really is you can hear the turbo a little bit more in these compared to the 3.6 that they have currently. But I got to experience a whole bunch of different things. We got to go, I think it was a 42-degree incline that we were at.
Okay.
Almost.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That'll make you pucker.
Yeah. It was quite scary. We got to go over hills, test out the front camera, a bed of rocks as well, and test out the underbody camera for clearance issues. But all in all, it handled just as well as the full size pickups, if not better, because of how small it is.
Yeah.
But it was great. Got to test out all the front and rear lockers that you get to experience in those vehicles, which.
So you're speaking my language with this stuff. I like the mid-sized utes and trucks and all that stuff. One of my favorite YouTube channels, the guys over at 4-Wheel Drive 24/7, they're in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And, there and in Africa and Europe, those mid-sized SUVs and trucks are the deal. I mean, they don't have full-size Silverados running around all over the place, in other parts of the world. A lot of people drive those mid-sized trucks. And because of that, the mid-sized trucks have, I don't want to say, they have released some of this really nice kit that we're just now getting for off-roading, the front lockers, the electronic front and rear lockers, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's been out for quite a while in other parts of the world in these mid-sized vehicles, right? And now that we're doing it here in North America, it's next level. The underbody cameras, the front, approach angle, cameras and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's stuff that, even in other parts of the world where they have the hardware, they have the diffs, the lockers, stuff like that, and the powertrains. But, that stuff's all aftermarket. And there's a lot of companies that make, some really neat stuff for things like, kind of like pedal commanders, stuff that changes your throttle input. But they've got features like one pedal driving now for off-road from the factory. And we talked a little bit before this, believe it or not. You got to drive one of them with the one pedal driving, and that's beyond exciting for entry level off-roading. When you mess up your vehicle is when you're generally going down a hill and you're new at it. What do? You just stand on the brakes, and all your vehicle does is go nowhere you want it to go and slides, and then you hit a stump or a tree, or you roll a thing over or something like that. That's dangerous territory.
Mm-hmm.
So with all these people doing stuff like this, having a feature like one pedal driving, you got to use that a little bit. What was that like?
Yeah, so I'll walk you through the whole demonstration they told us to do. So we start at the incline. You're literally looking like this down at the ground, and you look up and you're looking at the sky. Then when you get done with that, there's a ginormous hill that you go straight up. You get to go up the hill, the side of the hill, because they wanted to test out the side cameras. As well as once you approach the top of the hill, there's a video that I took of the camera up front. You can see over the hill, but if you're just in the driver's seat, you cannot see anything. You're looking at the sky. So that was pretty cool. Once you get over the hill, he tells you to just lock or just let off the gas. And once you let off the gas, it just holds itself there. You're not touching the brake, not touching the gas. Your feet are both on the floorboard, and you're just stopped there. He tells you to hold it for 5 seconds, and then you just coast down the hill, and it just worked perfectly. No mishaps. And I rode in it with 5 different people.
Nice. Nice. And it's stuff like that, I mean, a lot of people think when you have OffRoad Kit on a $60,000 plus, vehicle, you're never going to take that off road. But believe it or not, people do.
Oh yeah.
And they do stuff like this all the time. So I think just kudos to the manufacturers for putting stuff like this out so that people can go on their adventures in their big investment vehicles and not look like goofs ended up wadded up at the bottom of the hill because, they didn't have the skill, or they didn't have the ability to use the features that they have. So, I mean, it's nice that stuff's almost a no-brainer to use. It's there, it's easy, it's from the factory. And that's peace of mind, really. If you're going to be doing adventure-y type of stuff at all, having that kind of capability is it's pretty great. And thinking about a few of the things that you did, you said there were quite a few other models there from other manufacturers that you got. Did you get to drive any other ones from other manufacturers?
The only driving I got to do was at the Blazer comparison when we took it around the track. Other than that, it was just at the Texas State Fair event that I went to.
That's right. So this was like a joint 2-part trip because the Find New Roads event was at the same location as the Texas State Fair?
Yes. So the Texas State Fair was at the Texas Fairgrounds, and then the Chevy Find New Roads was at Texas Motor Speedway.
Which is...
but when I arrived there, they said, hey, we have free tickets for you to go to the Texas State Fair.
Oh, perfect.
Because some of the vehicles that are supposed to be at Chevy Find New Roads are actually at
the State Fair.
Yeah. So, but it was cool. A lot of stuff.
So in a lot of the videos we saw pop up online in November, December, a lot of people went to the Texas State Fair to see the new refreshed 24 HD Silverados. And that's where we saw a lot of guys do their little walkarounds with the truck. We've talked about it and looked at a lot of images and stuff like that. But, looking at in person, what you saw, what was your favorite thing about the changes to the new truck visually? Because you got to see it, touch it, feel it. What stood out the most?
Everybody's going to go with the interior,
sure,
because of course it was well needed, or very well needed.
Yeah.
But mine was the front end. Front end on the Chevys, they needed something.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they just added a little fang-like design. I don't know, just when you're going down the highway, it's going to make all that little difference. And for a lot of people, they don't get to see the inside of the truck. So they like to look at the outside, Yeah, that's true.
Those new headlights are a great design change with the C-shaped LEDs. And it seems a lot sleeker. The current gen prior to refresh HDs, they look a lot edgier in shape compared to the half tons. This to me looked more like just a slightly bigger half ton. It's just sleeker, a little more together. I don't know. It just had a lot more fluid look than it did before. So I'm glad you said that. That's kind of the same thing I think without seeing it in person.
Yeah.
That's going to really stand out on them is that new front end appearance. So
I wish I would have got to see the new Denali Ultimate 3/4 ton, but I did get to see the all blackout edition High Country.
Ooh, yes.
And that was,
did they have the 20s or the 22s on it? Do you remember?
It has the 22s.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got the big boys.
That was a big deal looking, I bet, because that's a huge deal just being announced. I mean, if people have big wheels on heavy duty trucks, they're aftermarket. Being able to get, factory 22s on your HD pickup, that's new for us. And that's for a lot of people with these trucks. That's kind of just what they want. Just that extra little bit of flash. I mean, you're already driving a $96,000 truck. Might as well have 22-inch forged wheels on it, right?
Might as well, Yeah.
Yeah. So in summary, you went to an event, you went to the fair, you didn't come to work for a few days. Nobody else got to go. This sounds great. Well, I would say we probably owe the Weymouths a big thank you. Over the years, 20 years now almost, I've been to tons of these things. And, the Weymouths, whether it's with, Chrysler, Ford, Chevrolet, whatever it is, if we want to learn, they're there to support us. And this is just another one of those cases where Jairon's like, hey, can I go? They're like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. They were ecstatic when I asked. He was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." So
that's just great. And I'm glad. One other thing that was probably there, Z06.
mm-hmm.
Tell us about that little experience.
So when I was there, that's what everybody wanted to see, of course, because nobody really seen that. But they had the Indy Pace car there, which I took videos and pictures of. But they were comparing that to a Porsche GT3.
Oh yeah,
that was there as well. They started both of them up for us. And I really like the sound of the Z06 just because you don't expect it coming from that vehicle. Does. No. Not at all. And then you look at the engine compartment and you finally understand how big of an engine that 5.5 liter is. Mm-hmm. And it's great. Yeah. It's a great car.
But there's something about looking at a V8 with the overhead cams, mm-hmm. And just how much wider it's not just little valve covers. It's a big.
Oh yeah. And they want you to know.
Oh yeah. And when you look at it, that you're looking at an overhead cam, high revving engine, and it sounds like it looks like it should sound. If that makes any sense.
And one thing I always love about GM, they add the little burbles a little bit. It's just subtle, but that's something that other performance cars mostly don't have. Mm-hmm. That's really what gets me with the Z06. And you could almost feel it in your heart when it would pop and crackle. Oh yeah.
That's a good race car feeling. That's a feeling you only get from a race car engine running near you in your vicinity, is that feeling like in your chest. It's not quite like being at top fuel, but you get enough of it. That's neat, man. Sounds like a really good experience.
We drove the Corvette around the track.
Yes.
Which was cool. I didn't get to get any videos of that because the driver was trying to scare the absolute crap out of me.
Oh, nice. They call it hot laps.
Yeah. So he took me on the first lap, and I thought there was no way we were going to make this corner. And then he just turned the steering wheel and the car just stuck to the ground. But I felt that there was no way that car should be able to do that at all. And I'm trying to get my phone out, but he's got me pinned up against the door. And I was just like, all right, I'm just going to enjoy the ride at this point.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah, but he was a pretty good driver.
Well, yeah, I bet. Probably from the Ron Fellows school. Those guys, sometimes they'll work at the driving school for Corvette in Pahrump, Nevada, and then they'll go on tour and do the hot laps at different shows. Like they do them at SEMA out, different shows they have set up, and they'll go out and do hot laps with people in Z06s or Corvettes in general.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
And one thing that surprised me was the Tahoe in the off-road driving, the Tahoe Z71.
Yeah.
They let us go on the incline on that as well. And it also has that front camera. Uh-huh. So we went up over a hill and then around, and you had to use the camera the whole time. It was all uphill.
That's cool.
So that was very surprising to me. I was like, there's no way something this top heavy should be able to do that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
They've really got this stuff figured out. I mean, it's what the people have wanted. It's what we've been modifying stuff on the side for years, is for this kind of utility. I mean, it's a sport utility vehicle. Yes.
Yeah.
But people have always been doing stuff to them to make them more utilitarian, to make them more off-road capable, to make them more like just the ultimate RV / daily driver / do everything vehicle. Mm-hmm. And now you just, check the Z71 box on your Tahoe and you've got that.
Yeah.
I think that's saying a lot. The vehicles that size just don't have that kind of capability normally. So this is huge.
Yeah. Another thing was the EV workshop that I got to experience. Yes. Yeah. So our GM rep here, our Chevy guy, Todd.
Yeah.
He was the one who actually put that on.
Todd's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And he gave me a little tip, he said, don't charge your EVs up over 80%.
Yeah.
Because the density of the battery, it just wouldn't make any sense. You just drive and then get about 10%, charge back up to 80 and then drive, because the density of the battery, the fall off is just gradual after 80%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
very interesting.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that, but he showed us how it worked and everything.
So this is something I've been wondering, because, I look at the platform that the new Equinox EV, Blazer EV, Silverado EV, Cadillac Lyriq, all this stuff is on the same, platform, basically. And it still amazes me that the Equinox, you got to see the Equinox EV in person, can look like it does. I mean, in pictures at least, and have all the capabilities it has and still be that price. It almost seems impossible to me.
Yeah.
But, what did it look like it looks like it's got a really long wheelbase, and it almost looks like the current Blazer gas engine, right?
Absolutely.
That's what the Equinox for starting at 30 grand is going to look like. That's really, really cool. The interior looked very Blazer-esque. I mean, it really had and then the Blazer EV looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference between the interior was basically the same exact thing.
Oh, cool.
But the exterior was a little bit different. And a lot of people don't realize that you're not going to have that front engine compartment anymore.
Yeah.
That's going to be all storage. So you got a frunk, and you don't have to have a $100,000 sports car to get a frunk.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that just fits perfect with the utilitarian-ness of those mid-sized and small SUVs. Having that extra storage space is going to be big for people. So, man, what a neat experience. Sounds like you got to drive some cool stuff. You got to learn about some of the stuff. Man, I should have gone to this. Why didn't I check my email?
I know. You would have got that little Corvette coin, man. I'm telling you.
Add that to the collection. Now, that is that really sounds great. It's nice. It's nice to have somebody that's been down there, touched, driven, felt, learned more, straight from the source. He was talking about Todd. The guy's a genius, and he's also one of the greatest product trainers I've ever known. He's just very, very knowledgeable, and him being on these tours. It's funny, you saw him there. When I've been to Nevada for Corvette stuff, I've seen Todd. I mean, Todd, he's kind of the globe-trotting product guru that we all know and love. But when they put on a program to teach you extra stuff, this isn't just sitting around waiting for free pens and notepads and stuff. You're actually experiencing and learning about the product in real world applications so that you can help people. So I think it's just great that you went and did that. So it was a long drive.
Oh yeah, long drive. But hey, I had a lot of In-N-Out and a lot of Whataburger on the way. So
you got to take full advantage of that.
Yeah.
Bring some back home with you.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I think that covers pretty much all of it. We really just wanted to fill everybody in on what we've been doing lately, Jairon, and just how much we've learned about the new stuff that's coming out. We're going to be on top of this stuff for you guys. And I don't know if you found this informative, fun, if you like Jairon, whatever, give us a like, thumbs up, let us know what you thought of the episode, and we'll cruise on by and pick you up next week.
This has been a WK Burnouts production.